Hi, and welcome to Show Up. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at color grading and how it can improve our image. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is open up our raw file. Now, if you're working with a raw file, it will automatically open to this. But if it's a JPEG file, you need to open up Photoshop and head to Filter. Then scroll down to Camera Raw Filter, and it will come to this page. Now, as you can see on the right side, we have a load of different settings we can work with to adjust our image. Mine are already preset, done, but take your time, adjust your image, and once you're finished, head over to Open Image. Okay, next we want to copy our layer, Command J. By doing that, if we make any mistakes or we just want to go back to the settings that we just did, we have that layer to work with. Okay, so we're going to head down next to Selective Color, go to Colors, and as you can see, we have a range of different colors that once again we can work with to adjust our image. Now, I personally like to go to whites, blacks, then neutrals, reds, yellows, and work my way down. Now, you don't have to do it that way. I personally just think it works for me that way the best. So as we have, if you can see here, we have 4 different bars, and if you go to one side, it's going to adjust your image to a certain color. Go to the other, then it's going to be another color. Now, you most likely don't want to go that far. It's probably very little that you want to go to, but mess around and see how you wish to find your image. Now, I personally like to go a little bit to one side and then go to the other side of the same number, but just the positive side, and then undo and redo to see personally what works for my image. Undo it is Command Z, redo is Command Shift Z. And then you just want to work your way through with the whites. Now, personally, I don't want anything done too much on the whites, so I kind of know what I want. And there's no right or wrong with this. It's how you interpret your image. So once you've done on the whites, go back to colors, head over to blacks, do exactly the same thing. Now, I know what I want for my image, but do take your time and figure out what you want personally. Okay. It's also great to just listen to how you feel about your image. Now, what I mean by that is if you have an idea of an image in mind, listen to that, because I think the best results come from listening to your own instinct with an image. However, I think it's also good to be open to seeing where your image takes you. You might have an idea, but you might start editing and think, oh, that might look nice if I do this, and it might not be your initial idea, but it might develop into something new. Now, also, you might not want to use green or blue or anything else that the settings provide. It doesn't mean that your image is going to be less. It just might mean in that image, those colors might not come through as much, and you just have to use your own judgment on that. Once you've done that, you're going to head over to color balance, okay? And from color balance, we have midtones, highlights, shadows, and that just represents the midtones, the highlights and shadows within your image. And what we just did with the selective colors, you're going to basically do the exact same thing. However, these colors impact a bit more than the selective colors do. Now, if you can see, if I go to one side, it completely changes the look of my image. So use it with caution. And once again, you're also going to use the undo and redo method with this also. So take your time, figure out what's best for you. Once again, my image, I know my settings for this. but this is something that you do not need to rush. Once you've done midtones, highlights. And then shadows. Okay, now let's have a look where we came from and where we are now. Okay, that's good. Okay, so from there, I like to head to the top side of these settings and go to exposure. And with exposure, it's just really basically what kind of light is exposed, or what is light is getting shown within the image. Okay, now you can mess about with the offset and gamma correction. I'm not going to deal with that. For me, my image is okay, I don't need that. But then I'm going to head over to levels, which is basically neutrals, shadows and highlights, so to speak, just in different form. Now, whether you want them to be darker, whether you want them to be lighter, that is once again your own judgment and up to you. For me, I do know my settings once again. Once you've done that, head over to brightness. And now brightness is a little bit different than exposure, but it kind of gives off the same effect, so to speak. Now, as you can see, it makes it brighter, makes it a bit darker. For me, I want it just a little bit lighter from the sun, but I don't want so much contrast. So about here. Okay, so now let's have a look at our original image. And now let's go back to what we have finally come to. One more time. Original. And what we're at. So that's it for this tutorial. Please, if you did like this video, give it a little like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.